It started with a rumor, just a whisper on a blog, a blurry photo, a vague caption, but within hours, that whisper became a roar. The words DNA test and secret baby were plastered across every gossip site, fan forum, and reality TV reaction page. And at the center of it all, Jim Jones. The man who once promised Chrissy forever was now caught in a storm that could tear their entire legacy apart. But here's what no one expected. Chrissy found out at the same time the internet did, a leaked lab report, a hidden message thread, a baby born just months ago. And the timing? Too close. Way too close. Fans are stunned, demanding answers. Emotions ran high as everyone scrambled to figure out what's real and what's manufactured chaos. But behind the headlines, a real woman, Chrissy Lampkin, is putting the pieces together. And when she finally confronts Jim, let's just say, the cameras couldn't look away. What really happened during Jim's out-of-town tour? Who's the woman behind the baby? And most importantly, did Jim Jones hide a child from the woman who stood by him through everything? You're not ready for the secrets that are about to be revealed. Stay tuned, because this story is about to explode. It all started on a rainy Monday afternoon, the kind of day where bad news seems to travel faster. Chrissy Lampkin was in her living room, scrolling casually through her phone, half listening to the background noise of daytime television, when her screen lit up with a text from her longtime friend and former castmate. The message simply read, "You need to see this right now." Attached was a screenshot, one that would flip her entire world upside down. The image was a cropped portion of a document. Not just any document. It was labeled Confidential DNA Test Report. Below that, two names appeared, slightly blurred but still legible. The alleged father, Joseph Jim Jones. The child, a 4-month-old boy. And at the bottom, a highlighted result line that said probability of paternity, 99.9%. Chrissy's heart stopped for a moment. She blinked, hoping it was fake. A joke. Some fan-edited nonsense meant to stir drama. But the more she stared, the more real it felt. Her hands started shaking, phone slipping slightly in her grip as 1,000 thoughts exploded in her mind. She hadn't heard anything about this. No slip-ups, no weird messages, no sudden absences. Sure, Jim had been traveling more lately, club appearances, studio sessions, the usual hustle. But she never imagined he could be living a double life. Not after all these years. Not after everything they had been through. Within minutes, more screenshots began circulating. Instagram blogs were posting the full DNA report. People were tagging Chrissy non-stop, flooding her comments with praying hands and shocked emojis. One tweet read, "Not Jim Jones hiding a whole baby from Chrissy. This can't be real." Another said, "If this is true, Chrissy better flip that whole house upside down." She didn't cry. Not yet. Instead, she got up, walked to the kitchen, poured a glass of water, and sat down at the island in complete silence. Her thoughts raced. If this was true, it meant Jim had not only cheated, but he had brought a child into the world behind her back. A child that was now exposed to the entire world before she even had a chance to know the truth. She called him. "Straight to voicemail," she texted. No reply. That's when it hit her. He was online. She could see his activity. He was active on Instagram just moments ago. He had seen the leaks too. And yet, no call, no explanation, no panic, just silence. 3 hours passed before he finally came home. The front door opened slowly. Chrissy sat on the couch, arms crossed. The DNA screenshot pulled up on the TV screen via AirPlay. Jim stepped in, his eyes immediately locking on the image glowing across the living room. "So, you've seen it?" he said quietly, dropping his keys on the table. "Yeah," she replied coldly. "I've seen it. And I'm waiting." Jim sighed, rubbed his hand across his face, and took a seat on the edge of the coffee table. The air was thick with tension. Chrissy's eyes didn't leave his face for a second. "I ain't even know that was mine," he mumbled. "So you're not denying it?" "I'm saying I didn't know. I got a call a few weeks ago. Some girl from Miami said she had a baby, said she thought it was mine. I didn't believe it at first. I told her to handle her business. Then the lawyer called, told me to take a test. I did it on the low. Didn't want to tell you until I knew." "And now that you know?" Chrissy asked, her voice cracking slightly. Jim looked down. "I was trying to figure out how to tell you before the world did." "Well, guess what, Jim? The world beat you to it." There was a long silence, the kind where years of trust start to crumble without a single word. Chrissy stood up, walked over to the window, and stared out at the city below. "How long?" she asked. "How long were you messing with her?" Jim didn't answer right away, and that silence told her everything she needed to know. "About a year," he said finally. Sharp breath escaped her lips. "A year? And you never thought to tell me you were seeing someone else? You never thought to tell me you weren't as in this as I was?" "It wasn't like that, Chrissy. It was a mistake. I was on the road. I was drinking. It just happened." She turned around sharply. "Don't insult me with that 'it just happened' crap. You don't trip and fall into someone's bed for a year. A mistake is one night. A year is a choice." Jim stood now too, frustration rising. "You think I wanted this? You think I planned this? I didn't ask for no baby. I didn't ask for this mess." "But you created it," she snapped back. "And now you've embarrassed me. Again. Publicly. After all this time, after all I've stood beside you through, this is how you repay me?" He didn't speak. He just looked at her, shame written all over his face. And for the first time in a long time, Chrissy saw someone she didn't recognize. Someone who had once promised her everything, and now stood there with nothing to offer but excuses. "I need space," she said finally. "So that's it?" "No, this isn't it. This is just the beginning. Because now, I want answers. I want to meet her. I want to know what kind of man I've really been living with. And if you can't give me that, then yeah, Jim, this might be it." He nodded slowly, then turned and walked into the bedroom, leaving Chrissy alone in a silence heavier than anything she had felt before. What she didn't know yet, what no one knew, was that the woman in Miami, she wasn't staying quiet. She had her own receipts, and she was about to leak something that would make that DNA report look like child's play. The silence after Jim walked into the bedroom felt endless. Chrissy stood still for a few moments, her mind racing, her heart feeling heavier with every second. She had been through drama before, public fights, TV confrontations, even long separations, but nothing had felt like this. This wasn't a storyline for the show. This was her real life, ripping open in front of millions. The next morning, the internet wasn't letting go. A woman named Mariah, the alleged mother of Jim's child, had officially stepped into the spotlight. No hiding, no holding back. She posted a full carousel of photos on Instagram, herself, the baby, and a few blurry images of Jim in what looked like a hotel room. One image showed Jim holding the baby. Another showed his chain sitting on her dresser. And in the caption, she wrote, "I stayed quiet out of respect, but I won't be painted as some random. I didn't trap anyone. I didn't hide anything." He knew. It didn't take long for the blogs to repost. Fans went wild in the comments. So he was lying to Chrissy and the girl? This is so messy. Poor baby caught in the middle. Chrissy sat at the kitchen table scrolling through the comments. It felt like betrayal was being broadcast in high definition. She didn't even recognize the man they were talking about. The Jim she knew. He wouldn't do this. He couldn't. But the more evidence came out, the harder it was to keep making excuses. She texted him. No response. She knocked on the bedroom door. He didn't answer, so she opened it. He was lying on the bed, phone in hand, scrolling silently. "Did you see what she posted?" Chrissy asked. "Yeah," he replied without looking up. "So, is it true?" she said. "Did you know about the baby before that test?" He hesitated. Chrissy's stomach dropped. "I had a feeling," he said finally, "but I didn't want to believe it. I thought maybe she was just saying that because she knew who I was." Chrissy looked at him, her voice cold now. "And when you saw that baby, when you held him," Jim sighed, "he looked like me. I knew then." Tears welled up in her eyes. "And still, you said nothing." Jim sat up. "I didn't know how to, Chrissy. I didn't want to lose you." "You already did," she said quietly. She turned and walked out of the room, but her mind was far from settled. Something about the way Mariah posted, so bold, so calm, it didn't sit right. Chrissy had been in the game too long to not feel it when a setup was coming. And she wasn't wrong. Within hours, Mariah went live on Instagram. live on Instagram. The baby was off camera, but the tension wasn't. I've kept all the messages. The voice notes. Everything? She said. I'm not trying to break up a family, but I'm also not about to be made to feel like I don't exist. The chat was full of fire emojis, wide eyes, and shocked reactions. She kept scrolling through questions, then said something that set the internet on fire. He told me they weren't even living together, that she was just on the show for storyline purposes, and that they hadn't been intimate in over a year. The screen lit up. Chrissy's name started trending again. Fans were shocked. Others didn't believe it. Some even said, Jim always loved Chrissy too much to say that. But others were ready to believe the worst. And Chrissy? She watched every second. Then she made a decision. She wasn't going to respond with a quote post, or a comment, or a subtweet. She was going to see this girl in person. If she wants to be seen, she told her friend Tasha, then she can say it to my face. Tasha tried to talk her down. Chrissy, you don't need to go to Miami. You already know the truth. I need to look her in the eye, Chrissy replied. I need to hear it from her, not through a screen. Within 24 hours, she booked a flight. Jim had no idea she was going, and Mariah, she didn't know Chrissy, was coming either. Not yet. But their face-to-face meeting was about to become the moment that no one would forget. Not Chrissy, not Jim, not the fans. Because what Mariah revealed when they sat across from each other, the heat in Miami felt heavier than usual as Chrissy stepped out of her car, sunglasses on, jaw tight, nerves steeled. She hadn't come here to fight. Not physically, not for cameras. This wasn't about making a scene. This was about facing the woman whose presence had turned her world inside out. Mariah had agreed to meet at a neutral spot, a small cafe. Near the beach, no press, no entourage. Just the two of them, face to face. Chrissy arrived first. She sat at a corner table, ordered a glass of water, and waited. 5 minutes passed, then 10. And finally, Mariah walked in. Calm, collected, holding a small diaper bag over one shoulder. She didn't look nervous. In fact, she looked prepared, like she had practiced this moment in her head many times. They didn't greet each other with a smile. There was no handshake. Just a quiet, tension-filled nod before Mariah sat down across from Chrissy. You came? Mariah said softly. I said I would, Chrissy replied. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then Chrissy leaned in slightly. I'm not here to argue with you. I just want the truth. No more screens, no more posts. Just you, me, and whatever's real. Mariah nodded, looking down for a second. You deserve that. Chrissy's voice didn't waver. Did he tell you we were done? That we weren't together? Mariah looked her straight in the eyes. Yes, that's what he said. He told me you were just keeping up appearances for the show. He said y'all hadn't been a couple in over a year. Chrissy clenched her jaw, but she didn't interrupt. And you believed him? She asked. I did, because he was with me. A lot. Calling me, flying me out. He made me feel like I wasn't a secret. Chrissy exhaled slowly, trying to process everything. Mariah continued. I wasn't trying to take anything from you, but I also wasn't going to stay quiet when the baby got dragged into this. He's a part of him. And now, whether you like it or not, part of your life too. My life? Chrissy repeated, eyebrows raised. Mariah nodded. If you're still with him, yes, because this child is here, and he didn't ask for any of this. Those words cut deeper than Chrissy expected. She had come prepared for lies, for shade, maybe even an argument. But not this. Not a calm truth delivered without ego. What do you want? Chrissy asked. I want peace, Mariah answered. I want to raise my son without being dragged online. I want him to know where he comes from. And yeah, I want support. Not just money, but presence. And Jim said he'd be there, so if you're going to keep him from that, I'm not, Chrissy cut in. I'm not going to keep him from anything. If he wants to be a father to that child, he should be. He has to be. But what I'm not going to do is keep pretending like nothing happened. You say you want peace. So do I. But peace doesn't mean silence, it means truth. And if we're all going to live with this, then we need to stop lying to each other and to ourselves. Mariah nodded again, this time with more weight behind it. Do you love him? Chrissy asked suddenly. The question caught Mariah off guard. I don't know, she admitted. I think I loved who he was with me. But now, after all this, I don't know what's real anymore. Chrissy sat back, her mind turning. You're not the enemy, she said, but I'm not your sister either. We're here because of him, not each other. Just remember that. I do, Mariah said. Believe it or not, I respect you. I just didn't expect to be part of your story. Chrissy gave a sad smile. I didn't expect to be in yours either. The two women sat in silence for a while longer. No hugs, no forgiveness, but a mutual understanding had been established, a line drawn, a truth acknowledged. Chrissy stood up, grabbed her purse, and looked down at Mariah one last time. Take care of your son, she said. I will, Mariah replied. As Chrissy walked away, the cameras didn't follow. No reality TV crew caught the exit. But if they had, they would have seen a woman walking not just away from a conversation, but toward a decision. Because when she returned home to New York, Chrissy had no plans of returning to that house. Jim Jones had one more chance to face her. And this time, the days started to pass, but nothing inside Chrissy felt normal. Everything still felt broken, but at least now she was holding it together. She stayed quiet. No social media statements, no press interviews. Just silence. The kind of silence that speaks louder than any post. Her phone kept buzzing, though. Producers, friends, blogs. Everyone wanted a comment, a reaction, something to feed the fire. But Chrissy wasn't giving them anything. Not yet. One evening, her phone rang again. It was Mama Jones. Baby, I need to talk to you. Her voice was softer than usual. I'm listening, Chrissy said, calmly but guarded. I saw her, Mama Jones said. The girl, Mariah. I saw the baby too. And Chrissy, that child, he looks just like Jim. Chrissy closed her eyes, hit speaker, and placed the phone on the table. She didn't interrupt. She just listened. I don't blame you for anything, Mama Jones continued, but you deserve peace. You've been through too much already. Chrissy exhaled slowly. I never expected this from either of them. And Jim? Mama Jones asked. I spent years trying to understand that man, Chrissy said. Now I'm starting to think maybe I never really knew him at all. There was a pause. Then Mama Jones added gently, whatever you decide to do, I'm on your side. The call ended. Chrissy just sat there staring at the quiet screen. She didn't feel angry anymore. She didn't feel heartbroken. She just felt tired. The kind of tired that comes when you've carried too much for too long. And that kind of exhaustion, it only has one cure: closure. The next morning, Chrissy texted Jim.